Hi everyone and welcome to a Theme Park Worldwide news update. It was only last week where I mentioned here on the channel that it's the time of year where theme parks all around the world are preparing their big announcements for 2025. Last week it was all about the new launched B&M Wing coaster, Rapterra at King's Dominion, and make sure you check out that news update here on the channel if you haven't already seen it. We're sticking in North America though this week with another huge announcement, but this time over into Canada with an announcement from Canada's Wonderland. This is on their brand new ride for 2025, a huge new roller coaster, and I've got to say, from the animation, this looks absolutely fantastic. Now, the name of the ride is set to be AlpenFury, and in a moment we'll take a look at the official animated POV, some more off-ride footage, and of course I'll give you all the stats and information along with my thoughts on what we can expect from this ride. But initially, it's great to see even more investment into this huge amusement park in Canada. I visited there back in 2019, long overdue another trip, and of course with this coaster that certainly gives a big reason to go and visit this park next year. It looks like it'll be an incredible investment. Now they've actually got 18 operating roller coasters at the moment at Canada's Wonderland, and the fact they're going in for a 19th coaster is great to see. It really is, because it's a very busy park. They get a high attendance of around 3.7 million visitors a year, so this is definitely needed from them for a capacity point of view, adding another coaster into the lineup. And I'll talk more about the capacity and all them stats and figures a little bit later on. Now, what makes this ride really exciting is the fact it's actually going to be the longest, tallest and fastest launch coaster in the whole of Canada. It's been manufactured by Premier Rides as well. Now, before we talk a bit more about this new coaster, let's take a look at the official animated POV that was released just yesterday from Canada's Wonderland. And I've got to say, this ride looks absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look. Well, there we go, folks. AlpenFury. I've got to say, this looks a lot better than what I was expecting. There's been rumours for quite a few months now that Canada's Wonderland were going to be making a big announcement soon about a new roller coaster investment. And of course, me being a big theme park enthusiast, that gets me really excited, as with any parks when they're making their big announcements. But with this one, it was the mystery, not really knowing exactly what it was going to look like, the layout, and now we've got all the stats and figures about this. It looks like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic ride. Like I say, the longest, tallest and fastest launch coaster in Canada. Now, let's kind of break that down with some stats. 3,280 feet of track is going to be featured here on AlpenFury. There's going to be 2 launches in total with a 71 miles per hour top speed. It's also going to have 9 inversions, which I think is fantastic. I was not expecting this to be as big of a ride as what it is. I was thinking, oh, maybe a couple of launches and, you know, 3 or 4 inversions, but no, we've got them 2 launches in there, but also we're getting 9 inversions on this ride, which is fantastic to see. Now, all of this looks brilliant. However, the initial launch for this looks fantastic. You kind of take a right out of the station, you got that initial launch, and then you got a little dip down and then into the main launch itself, which is actually going to be in the bottom of the mountain. Now, there's already a few other rides that actually interact with this mountain that they've got here at the park, and I'm really liking the fact they're utilising that again and actually building a launch down in the bottom of it. I mean, that looks like it's certainly going to be the highlight of AlpenFury just here. So you kind of drop down after that initial launch into a tunnel, you've got the second launch, and then you're going to blast out of Wonder Mountain at 164 feet. So that certainly looks like it's going to be the highlight of the ride based on the animated POV just there. I just love the fact, it's going to be enclosed, hopefully lots of theming in there, maybe some smoke, some sound effects, all them different things that you'd expect inside the mountain. And it's all playing on the storyline and the theme that they're going with this as well, when fire and ice come together inside the mysterious Wonder Mountain. This is also the icon of the park. When you walk in down their kind of main street area, you see it down there at the bottom. Like I say, you've already got other attractions that interact with this mountain as well. So I think it's great that we're seeing another major coaster going into this, and that's going to kind of transform that whole area around it. Now it's actually going to be an 80-second ride, so there's a lot of elements in there. 2 launches, 9 inversions to fit into an 80-second ride. But you know what? This looks action-packed. As soon as you come out of that second launch and up to the 164 feet, you've got drops, and then you've got inversion after inversion. But along with that, it's got some nice drops and twists and turns mixed in with them elements too. So I don't think it's going to feel like, the Smiler, for example, at Alton Towers. And I know we're going with a different manufacturer there. It's a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster. But with that, it does literally just feel like, one inversion after the other. With this, you have got some other little drops and twists in between, which I think will really make the layouts here on AlpenFury. Now, this is actually a skyrocket model from Premier Rides. Now, of course, Premier builds some fantastic coasters. They're a very well-known manufacturer. But when it comes to their train design, that's what always lets down their rides, in my opinion. It's like a good old Premier Ride Skyrocket 2, like the standard park model that a lot of places have. It's one of them that it's a good ride, but it's the trains what tend to let it down. They're a little bit uncomfortable. The comfort collars on some of them aren't the best. Getting in and out of the trains is quite slow, which can really dampen the throughput of a ride. And that's something I'm a little bit concerned about with this. The layout looks amazing. I like the look of the theme and story. It's the train design and the fact that it's only going to have 2 trains, and each of them trains only seats 18 riders. So for a park that's doing almost 4 million visitors a season, the capacity doesn't look the best here on AlpenFury. But still, we'll see what Premier do. I have noticed though, from having a bit of a zoom in on the concept images here, that it does look like there's been some slight, reworking of the trains possibly, or at least the restraints on there. You can't see any comfort collars, which I'm pleased about. It's the really weird comfort collars. If you've never seen them before on a ride, basically you've got your normal lap bar, and then it's a comfort collar that comes over, so it's a bit like an over-the-shoulder restraint, but it's not. It's flimsy. It's like a seat belt, and then it clips onto the lap bar. It's pointless, really. It's there to stop you kind of jolting forward. That was the origin of them, I believe, but it really just doesn't work. Not a fan of them at all. Not even all Skyrocket models have them, so it just seems a bit of a funny one for me, that some have them, some don't, but still, this looks like it won't have them, which I am very pleased about. But I've got to say, everything else about this investment really excites me. Obviously, a lot of the time now we're seeing Intamin do these big kind of launch coasters, so it is nice to see Premier Rides were chosen as the vendor for this one. Looking forward to seeing how this is going to ride. Got a few concerns about the trains and the throughput, the hourly capacity, especially with it being a major park in Canada, but still the layout looks great. I'm loving that mini launch and then dropping down into the main launch. The theming of the mountain itself is great anyway, and then all the different elements and inversions look really good. So fingers crossed this is going to be a fantastic ride. I'm looking forward to riding it. Fingers crossed next year we'll get out to Canada. I know Charlotte's always wanted to go to Canada. I've not been since 2019. I'd love to see more of it and have an explore round. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to join us for that on the channel next year. But still, we'll keep you updated on this project. So be sure to subscribe to the channel for all of the latest news updates, and follow us on our social media accounts as well, so you can see all the different updates from the parks as they are being released. But let me know your thoughts on this new roller coaster coming to Canada's Wonderland down below in the video comments. Is it your local park, or is it one that you'd love to travel to? I would love to know. And of course, if you want to see more of the park, we did film that vlog back in 2019. I know that's quite a long time ago now. We definitely need to get back there and film some updated content here on the channel. But there it is, AlpenFury, the longest, tallest and fastest launch coaster in Canada. 9 inversions, 71 miles per hour top speed, and opening in 2025. I'm Sean Sandbrook. Thanks for watching us here on Theme Park Worldwide, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. We'll see you in the next video.